our Get Up. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. McNutt is back.
What's up,
It is
Greeny?
good to see you. D. Wood and Graziano are here. Super Week is upon us. We got Dominique Foxworth up early this morning, and the Windman is awake and ready to roll. We begin with the game of the night in the NBA right here in New York City, Madison Square Garden. Knicks and Lakers. The Stars were out. Carmelo Anthony in the building. He and LeBron a little love before the game, and then LeBron, Monica, he can still go up and do things like that.
Yeah, he can. Still the league's leader in fast break points, just under 6 a game. And when he's energized, yeah, the reactions.
Look at Reggie. Leave Puerto Rico alone. Later in the third, Luka Doncic, spinorama. He and Spike have a little moment here. Luka had 30 points, 15 rebounds. Lakers had the lead, but then late in the third is where the Knicks defense turned this on.
OG Anunoby in particular
He had 12 points, 13 assists. Knicks open up an 8-point lead. Then you mentioned Anunoby. He knocks this one down. He had 25.
Listen, he's having a really great stretch of basketball right now. He's keeping it simple, but it's been very, very effective.
Knicks lead was 8 going to the fourth. Now it's 9 with 2 minutes remaining. No good from Josh Hart. Then it's Mitchell Robinson, Landry Shamet. Yes, he had 23 off the bench. Ben Stiller loves it. LeBron had 22. Would it be his final game at the Garden? I guess we will find out. If so, it comes in a losing effort. The Knicks win their 6th straight, and their defense has been locked down during the streak, allowing just 92 points a game in those 6, the fewest by any team this season over any 6-game span. And I'm being windy in here, but again, Monica, for those of you who don't know, is the radio voice of the Knicks, so you see this team game in, game out. And they've been really on a roller coaster. I'm old enough to remember, and I don't know, it was like 2 weeks ago, that all my Knicks fan friends were panicking and everything was falling apart. Now here we are, a 6-game win streak. What has been the difference?
They've been able to lock in defensively. And now, granted, you can look at some of the teams they played against. They played against a Brooklyn Nets team that obviously is trying to establish what they want to do moving forward. But in that game, they did have a monster margin of victory. And so it is their defense that has woken up over this stretch. And every time we have a chance to talk to these guys post-game, they talk about the communication and they talk about the accountability. Now, I understand that the weight class will shift as it did last night when you look at the likes of Luka Doncic and LeBron James. But the mentality, the focus from this group has been maintained.
And Wendy, I saw you with Doc Rivers yesterday talking about, Giannis, and he's looking forward to the trade deadline coming and going, and he still believes Giannis will still be there. Obviously, Giannis and the Knicks, they're part of one conversation here. Doesn't feel like the Knicks are going heavily after this thing right now, but I'm not that close to the situation. What can you tell us?
The Knicks believe in this team, Greeny, and that could end up being, an excellent assessment, or that could end up being a mistake. But they believed in this team last summer when Giannis was sort of loosely available in those discussions. They didn't make an aggressive offer at that time to progress those talks. If they want to win a bidding war for Giannis now, I think it's going to take a 3 or 4 team trade where they take some of their players, go out and get other assets for them, and then come back to the Bucks and make very strong offers. That is just not happening. They are not showing that aggression to get Giannis right now, and I think that's because they like this team. They don't think the Eastern Conference is a giant mountain to climb. And while this team has flaws, the entire East is limited in some capacity. And so, look, if Giannis doesn't get traded and the Knicks don't win the East this year, this could be revisited. But the Knicks, with their words and actions, what Jim Dolan recently said in an interview, that he believes in this team, I don't think we're headed in that direction right now.
Knicks are currently 13 games over 500, tied for second in the Eastern Conference. On the other side, we have the Lakers, who are sitting 10 games over, but 6th place right now in the West. What is your assessment? Watching them last night on the floor, obviously Luka spectacular. LeBron still doing his thing, named an All-Star yesterday, as was expected. What is your assessment of the Lakers in the big picture right now?
I don't know that there's a move for them to make at the deadline, Greeny, that's going to move them to where folks that root for the purple and gold are accustomed to being, and that is championship conversation, right? There just didn't seem to be a real defensive constitution or togetherness with this group. Yes, you can get monster productivity from Luka Doncic. LeBron James is still chipping in at a high clip, and obviously when Austin Reeves is available, he makes a difference, but it seemed all over the place. And I will say, DeAndre Ayton had a great start to this game. At halftime, he was 5 of 5, but it seemed like they folded, and then as you look into the stats coming into this one, what they're giving up in the restricted area, teams are shooting close to 70%. They've not been great, bottom in the league in terms of defending the three-point line. Like, they've got some real issues on that side of the basketball.
So, and I saw a stat as I was coming in here this morning, Wendy, that the combination of Luka, LeBron, and Reeves have been on the court together for 8 of their 48 games this year. So there's really no sense of how good they might be if they have their 3 guys together. Should we be expecting them to do something this week that will markedly change what we should expect from them this season?
I don't think so, because I think if you really look and read what the Lakers have actually done over the last 9 months, they have been leaning towards retrofitting their team in the summer of 2026. That is when they're going to have approaching $100 million in cap space. That is when they will get access to 3 first-round picks to trade. Right now, they're only permitted to trade 1, so they just have more that they can go to market with. And if you look at the free agent moves they made last summer, which was DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart on the scrap heap, with all due respect, they were released by other teams. The majority of their salary is playing elsewhere. The trade talks that they have had have largely been offering their expiring contracts. They haven't been willing to include a bunch of future draft picks or taking on future money. They are basically spinning their wheels, waiting to rebuild this team around Luka Doncic. It will help when Austin Reeves come back, and he has been sluggish to return. But I do not think you look at this team right now and say that's a team that's aggressively trying to win the Western Conference.
All right, and the big question will be, what will LeBron's future look like after that? We have a lot more on these teams. We'll show you what Oklahoma City did last night and much more. Wendy, stay close by. Monica for the longest such streak ever. His next road game comes Wednesday against OKC's nemesis, the Spurs. Spurs had an interesting game last night. Wemby was doing Wemby things. We'll show you highlights of that one a little bit later. But, Wendy, what is your biggest takeaway from that statement by OKC last night?
Command performance by the MVP. You know, these teams actually hadn't played this year. Their schedules are backloaded for this reason. After football, we want to feature these major games. And the Thunder had lost, 5 of their last 13. That sounds pretty good for most teams, but for them, that's a slump. And during that slump, they were 26th in the league in three-point shooting. So if you watch these replays, watch how many Denver players are in the paint. Their entire strategy last night, we're going to put as many bodies in the paint and slow this guy down as much as possible. He had 10 assists that led to three-pointers. So the Thunder woke up from three-point range at the worst time for the Nuggets. It was Jamal Murray's worst shooting game of the season on the day he finally gets named an All-Star. Jokic had 6 turnovers. He was definitely still knocking off some rust from that injury. But the Thunder, who are still missing several key players, coming into Denver when they're not playing their best basketball and delivering this gut punch is a reminder of the order of business in the Western Conference.
I feel you, Wendy. I feel you, Greeny. But if this was a statement, it's a lowercase s. It's a game before the All-Star break. The one thing that did stand out to me, though, and this continues to be the calling card, 19 points off of turnovers in terms of Oklahoma City being able to put pressure and make Denver very uncomfortable. But I give it a little bit of asterisk because it is Nikola Jokic is just his second game back, no Aaron Gordon. But, I mean, obviously, we know this one's going to be exciting down the stretch.
And they're great. I mean, the Thunder got off to the ridiculous start this year, and they're defending champs, and so they're the best team. Of that,
sure.
There isn't any question. The question is, who is their biggest threat? And is it, Monica, if I said to you that when push comes to shove, it will be the Nuggets who will be their toughest challenger this year, what would you say?
I understand that. I tend to lean that way. The only team that moves the Nuggets out of that position in my mind is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, we'll see what happens at the deadline. If the Giannis thing unfolds, then that's a whole nother story. But I do like the Nuggets when they're healthy, the variety of guys that they have in terms of size that can play multiple positions. Obviously, Jokic is an absolute problem, and Peyton Watson is a really incredible, versatile defender that's making big strides.
Well, actually, you just made me think of something then. So, Windman, should we be expecting, like that's the sort of usual suspects of the West right now, the teams that we just had on the screen, the teams Monica just named. Should we expect something that shakes that up in the next 3 days that significantly changes the balance of power in that conference?
The most aggressive team in the West right now is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are in the game for Giannis. I don't believe that their offers can outweigh the other offers, and I'm not even sure that Giannis is getting traded before Thursday. The Timberwolves are being aggressive. If they don't make what I would call a Hail Mary Giannis deal, I think they are aggressively looking to upgrade their backcourt. And they have beaten the Thunder twice this year. So they certainly, are a team that would have some confidence against them. But when the Thunder at the top of their game, I'm not sure you're touching them. And, maybe they won't be at the top of their game that matters. They went 7 games with Denver last year. Denver, I think, feels very good about its positioning. But both Oklahoma City and Denver like their teams. I don't think we're going to see major changes, if anything, to the edges, messing with luxury tax dollars or backups.
All right, guys, stay where you are. We're going to have more hoops as we continue, including today is a very special 1-year anniversary that needs to be pointed out, and we will.
Depends
But
on who
right
you
now,
ask.
back to the